Well, hello and welcome to the Christian YouTuber. I am Matt Corey, the Christian YouTuber, also Christian vlogger. And today we're going to be talking about relationships, dating advice for Christians. No, we all need a little bit more of that. So what I'm going to do is give you a few pointers and things that I have experienced personally in my own dating relationships. And I've been somewhat limited because of how I grew up. I'll tell you a little bit about that. I grew up in a very conservative Christian home where dating was not allowed until I basically was old enough to have a car and do what I wanted to do. That was pretty much how it went. And I was homeschooled, so had very little social skills, and didn't have my first real girlfriend till I was about 28 years old. Yeah, imagine that, 28 years old. I know some of y'all are like, whoa, that's just unbelievable. That's just crazy. But anyway, I dated one Christian girl and another girl who called herself a Christian. I had a hookup with another girl who called herself a pagan. She was a Wiccan, and I had been into Satanism, and so we sort of connected over this strange spirituality thing that was going on between the two of us. And, that brings me to a very interesting point. When you're dating somebody, you need to find somebody who you've got some kind of chemistry with. If you don't have any way of relating to that person, some way that you're able to connect on an intellectual, emotional, and when you're a Christian and a spiritual level, really, you're connecting on all those different levels: emotional, spiritual, and intellectual. And and of course ultimately physical at some point if the relationship gets that serious. And so you need to keep all of those different areas in mind when you're dating someone. It's not just enough to say, oh, she's cute, oh, he's cute, oh, man, I just love him, oh, I just love his hair, oh, he's so cute. That's not enough, especially when you're a Christian. You need to be able to relate to somebody on a spiritual level and say, is this person really a godly person for me to be dating? And that brings me to another point. Just because you meet somebody in church does not mean that that person is going to necessarily be, even for one, a true Christian. And second of all, I'm not saying we should go around judging people and saying, oh, they're a Christian, they're not a Christian. But you need to really be aware that and I'll tell you my own personal story here in a minute about this, that there are a lot of people going to church, young people especially, who will say that they're Christians, but they're out there living just like the world. They're going to parties, bars, clubs, everything else, and you have to be aware of that when you're a Christian out there in the dating world. When I was 28, I met a girl at church who was from Africa, and I just say that because it's kind of an interesting point, but she really came across as a really nice, sincere individual. It was interesting because she came on to me before I really showed any interest in her, that is a number one, guys. Let me tell you, it's not always the case, but in a lot of cases, if a girl comes on to you real strongly first, there's a good indication she's doing that with a lot of guys. Now, I know people who've gotten married and they have wonderful relationships, and their wives were the ones who initiated the relationship with them and started talking to them first. But you just really need to know that as a note of caution. That's something to look out for in certain situations. But anyway, this girl that I dated, we ended up having a sexual relationship together. We, she said she was a Christian. I said I was a Christian. you know, and before I knew it, she was talking to other guys on the phone right in front of me, and I just figured out she was cheating on me, and I had to end the relationship, and I kept going back and trying to see if I could fix it, you know, kept hanging out with her, you know, and doing stuff, and finally I just cut it off. I just said, I'm just tired of it, you know, this is just beyond ridiculous, you know, that she's doing this. So notice when you're looking for somebody to date as a Christian, how are they really flirt? There's nothing wrong with flirting. I mean, that's great. That's a way that we connect emotionally, and but you know, is somebody a flirt? I mean, do they flirt with, especially if you're in like high school or something, guys? Do they flirt with everybody? And you know, that's really something big to look at. And you know, one way when we get older, when we're out of high school and stuff, you know, we need a place to be able to look for somebody who is a Christian a lot of times, and church is by far the best place. I mean, I would avoid bars, I would avoid clubs, I would avoid any place like that. I'll tell you a little bit about my experiences with bars and clubs and girls that I met there. So I met, like I was telling you, I met a girl who was a Wiccan at the bar, and that turned out to be just a casual sexual relationship, a one-night fling. Another girl that I met through a friend at the bar, she was a bar girl. You know, she said she was a Christian. She ended up cheating on me. We had a casual sexual relationship and were dating for a little while. And it just wasn't good. It just wasn't good. It was something that I came to realize the bar is not a good place, especially for a Christian or anybody for that matter, to be trying to find somebody to date, because people who are going to the bar typically are looking for casual sexual relationships. But ladies, one thing you might want to notice, and even guys, is is somebody swearing a lot? Do they what do they talk about? You know, do they talk about God a lot? Do they talk about Jesus and their relationship with Jesus? Or is there really a sort of casual, you know, like, do they come across as worldly? Do they come across as you know, really, do they go to the bar? Do they go to the club? Do they, you know, ask questions like that? That's a huge thing. And another thing I'll tell you that's a big deal is children. Find out from somebody if they really want to have children and how many children they want to have. That's a huge part of marriage and a huge part of a relationship. You know, ultimately the end goal when we're dating as Christians is to find somebody to marry, not just casual dating. So we need to be looking at all these different areas and really looking for what God has in a mate for us. And you know, I would say you know, one thing that you really have to watch out for, guys especially, is look for signs of interest. And girls, you have to do the same thing. Look for signs of interest. You know, if you're messaging somebody on Facebook, if you're messaging somebody on text message, they're not responding back, there's a good chance that they probably are not interested in you. That's just the thing. I had that recently with a girl I was interested in. And the thing was, is I was somewhat interested, but I wasn't fully interested. And I think she picked up on that, and, you know, she just didn't show an interest in me at all after a while. We messaged a little bit on Facebook Messenger, and we spoke at church a few times, and there just really wasn't any interest, so I just quit pursuing it. You know, and I think that's something that you really have to watch out for, are signs of interest. You know, are they, you know, how much do they talk to you? You know, when they talk to you, how do they talk to you? You know, is it real casual, or do you guys get into real deep conversations and things like that? Well, those are just some of my dating tips. I'll probably do another video, I'm sure, on Christian dating and advice, but that's it for now. And hope you learned a little something from that, maybe something you can take away. And look forward to seeing you next time on the Christian YouTuber.